If you want to learn the story about King David that we like talking about a lot in the Bible, you can just read the book of Samuel. You can read First Samuel, which talks about the birth of Prophet Samuel, and him being raised in a temple under the tutelage of the prophet Eli. Then, as he grows up, he encounters a man called Saul. Then he anoints Saul to be king of Israel, because the Israelites had asked God that they need a king. And God was a bit offended by that, but he was like, you know what, I'll give you guys what you want. It's just that you guys don't understand. Basically, God was just making them realize that you don't understand. I wanted you guys to be free from slavery, from any form of power. I was your king. I am your king. You don't have to have any human king, because a human will rule over you. A king will have certain benefits that you won't have. But they still didn't listen. So he made Saul king. Now, Saul had a child called Jonathan, right? Then Jonathan became friends with David. Who is David? David is the son of Jesse, right? Is the youngest, if I remember correctly. Is the youngest, and Jesse comes from a lineage of Boaz and Ruth. So just before Samuel, there should be Boaz and Ruth. There should be the book of Ruth, just a couple of books just before Samuel. Now, David is the son of Jesse, who David is a shepherd. David once killed a lion and he killed a bear, because these two animals were trying to kill his father's sheep, but he killed them. Nobody saw it. Only he did it in secret. Only God saw it. He saw it. So Samuel was asked to anoint David as the next king because Saul had disobeyed God. Right? So Saul was told not to do something. He did it, and God was not pleased with that. Now God had to find a replacement, and David was anointed to be the next king. But David didn't do anything to Saul, for him to become king. He allowed time to take its course, and Saul died during battle. That's the first Samuel portion of it. Second Samuel then focuses on David taking the reign as king. So First Samuel also talks about David conquering Goliath. It talks about Saul being jealous of David because people basically gave David, they exalted David more than they exalted Saul as king. So Saul would have a very complex relationship with David, even though Saul's child, Jonathan, loved David more than he loved women, and David loved Jonathan more than the love that he has for women. Like their souls were just, I guess you could say, like they really loved each other genuinely so much. Like their love for each other was probably unconditional. Anyway, so Jonathan and Saul died in the first book of First Samuel. Second Samuel, as I've said, it touches on the reign of David. Now, the reign of David basically focuses on, the war, some of the wars that David fights, and some of the internal issues that he struggles with, from his own son, taking reign, Absalom, basically taking over the kingdom, um, Joab, which is one of his generals, Joab actually doing certain things that basically Joab went against some of David's commands, including killing Joab. David seeing Bathsheba naked, then orchestrating Uriah's death, Uriah being Bathsheba's Bathsheba's husband, then having a child with Bathsheba. Unfortunately, the child does not make it. She has a miscarriage. But then the second child from Bathsheba becomes King Solomon. And then after these two books, First Samuel, Second Samuel, you go to Kings. So there's First Kings, and the Second Kings. First Kings focuses on um, King Solomon, his reign. It talks about the Queen of Sheba. It talks about Solomon building a temple. It talks about like how he was doing certain things. It talks about the moment where uh, there were two mothers who ate one baby, and then the other baby belonged to one of the mothers, but both of the mothers said that they are the mother of that child. So Solomon used his wisdom there to determine who's the true mother of the child. And then it also focuses on his descendants, and one of his descendants unfortunately did not lead well, and as a result Israel was split into two. So there were two kings now. There was Rehoboam, and then there was Jeroboam. Okay, and it also shows the downfall of King Solomon, because he started having shrines and worshipping some of the gods that his wives were worshipping. So he went against God's advice about that. But it also focuses, which is actually the reason why I recorded this in the first place, it also focuses on the prayer that King Solomon made just before he became king, or as he became king, which is a prayer of wisdom, for God to give him wisdom to lead his people. And God was moved by that, because he did not ask God for money. He did not ask for anything that was selfish, but his prayer had to do with helping other people, serving other people. And when it comes to God, when you decide to serve other people, you're going to move him. When you decide to put other people, his people, like at the top of your priority list, you're going to move him. And as long as you're doing it with a genuine heart, sincerely, and to the best of your ability, there's no way he won't bless you, in my own understanding. Anyway, I hope this helps you. This is just a nugget for anybody who would like to learn a bit more about the Bible. See you in the next one.